Electroculture is basically the practice and technique of gathering atmospheric electricity. When you have more of this current in the soil, it's energizing and stimulating the growth of the roots. So the roots are now stronger. It's basically, I would say, like a natural version of steroids for the plants. Let's stop overcomplicating this, open our eyes and be observant of the elemental energetics around us, and then see how can we collect and harness those energies and use it.
Our potential, it's exponential.
Hey, what's up, guys? So this is Shivambi and I's first conversation. So Shivambi, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much, Jack, for having me here.
Of course.
So a couple things that I like to do or serve for the collective. I specialize in electroculture, tensor technology, creating orgonite, geopathic dowsing, ley line dowsing, ley line work, and do a lot of work with waterway systems as well, grading the waterways, praying with the water. And just recently I've been getting into permaculture as well.
Let's go. Those are a lot of great things.
Yeah.
Tell us about electroculture. I want to learn more about it.
Yeah,
So we're wearing these copper headbands.
Yeah, so electroculture is a category or topic that has a lot of controversy about it. It has been around for hundreds of years. The ancient civilizations used it. Tartaria specifically is a really big one, which is a whole nother topic. But electroculture is basically the practice and technique of gathering atmospheric electricity. So there's a plethora of different energies in the ionosphere all around us, right? We have atmospheric energy from the sun. So the sun is producing sunlight, producing electrons, positive ions, etc. You have wind energy. So when the wind blows, that's creating a current. You have electric energy from the electric field, the electromagnetic field.
The ether. Got it.
And then you also have the magnetic field. So, a compass is always facing north, which is, magnetic energy. You can also create a charge through ions. So an example would be zinc and copper. So copper has an excess of negative ions, where zinc has an excess of positive ions. So that positive and negative creates a charge together. So when you place zinc and copper together, that in itself can also create a charge. So electroculture can be used in all of these different ways. The two main ways that I've been working with it is one, using earth pipes. It is a copper pipe cut to a specific measurement. That measurement is also known as a qubit. The measurement determines the frequency or the wavelength. Think of wavelength. The length of the measurement creates the wave, the frequency. So we have specific measurements, and then we fill it with orgonite. Orgonite is a term for orgone energy. Orgone energy is similar to prana, chi, life force energy. And orgonite in itself is a mixture of metals, crystals, and resin. The resin, when it cures, it creates pressure, it shrinks. That pressure generates electricity on the quartz and other crystals. And then that energy is conducted through the metals and the sauce. And so we have a pipe full of orgonite generating and producing that life force energy. So this is a very simple and very easy applicable design. You really just take a garden bed or anywhere that you want to enhance and improve the growth of the plants, and you hammer it in. That's really simple. The other design that I've been working with is more of the ancient and more of the elder technique, I guess you could say, which is gathering atmospheric energy rather than having a source of that energy, which is the earth pipe. It produces its own source of energy.
Got it. Through the orgonite.
Correct.
Got it.
And so with the other application is using an antenna. So what I do is I create this antenna that has an earth pipe, and then it has a horizontal. It's 90 degrees perpendicular from the pipe. It's horizontal, and that is pointed magnetic south. That is
Wait,
also
above the ground or below the ground?
It's above the ground.
Got it.
So this is just the antenna, and then I'll share a little bit more. The antenna has an extra earth pipe going horizontal facing magnetic south. What that's going to do is gather the magnetic energy from the ionosphere, and that's going to run it through the currents. On top of that horizontal line would be a zinc and copper plate that's going to create a voltaic charge, like I was saying earlier, the positive and negative ions. So that creates a charge and current in itself. Also, because they are two plates, it generates and accumulates moisture, which also creates a current. And then at the top of the vertical pipe, this is the one that will be attached to the post. At the top of it will be 8 all the way up to 33 antennas. And what those antennas will do is gather atmospheric and also wind energy. Atmospheric, referring to the amount of voltage in the ionosphere around us. So this has been measured since the early 1900s, that per meter of space is 100 volts of electricity.
Wait, explain that for someone. I know.
Yeah.
Wait, so every meter it's 100 volts.
Yeah. So as you get taller, basically there's more energy. So
100 more each layer.
Yes. So for an example, the minimum or the simplest installation would be a 20-foot antenna. 20 feet is about 6.2 meters. So if you think about that mathematically, 6.2 times 100 volts, you get about easily 600 volts of electricity. Wow. So if you think of that, like you are gathering 600 volts of electricity and grounding it into the soil and then running that current through whatever garden you have. And so
what does that current do? Like it,
of course,
it brings paint the picture.
Of course.
This is good.
Yeah. So that electricity, think of an analogy. I'm a very big person on analogies. It helps people correlate and visualize. So when you are working out, right, you need a lot of water because you are expending a lot of energy. So you need minerals and you need hydration. It's the same with plants where they are constantly gathering minerals and nutrients from the soil. Their roots are reaching. Where are the nutrients? Where can I grow and nourish myself, right? And so what this energy does, this voltaic charge, is basically the water in us working out. So when we have a boost of energy, which is the basic building block of all creation, right? Prana, energy, chi. If we don't have energy, nothing is living, right? Like decayed apple. You don't want to eat a decayed apple. You want to eat a living apple. So
life force
energy.
Interesting. So you're saying it's like a conduit. It's like you're relating it to water, actually.
Correct.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So when you have more of this current in the soil, it's energizing and stimulating the growth of the roots. So the roots are now stronger. It's basically, I would say, like a natural version of steroids for the plants. You know, all that extra voltage and energy is now giving it juice to search for more nutrients to grow thicker and larger. And so what this leads to is more production in your crops, larger yields. They'll be a lot more bushier, a lot wilder, more rich and vibrant. Also minerals and nutrient intake, so they'll be more mineral rich, nutrient dense. Back to the prana, because it's providing life force energy, that prana. Your food as well will also have more prana. So when you're eating, you're like, instead of needing to eat 3 mangoes to feel full, you now eat 1 mango because once again, you're getting all that prana.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
So tell us, that's so cool. So it's like, it's meant, right? It's like a liquid IV for the plants, but like natural.
Energetic. Yeah.
But yeah, like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
We've experimented a little bit. Thank you for sharing that, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
We've experimented a little bit, but I'm so curious. You point the antenna north.
South.
South.
Yeah, I would love to share more about that.
Because of the magnetic energy.
Magnetic energy. So the post, right, video, so you guys can see, you have a vertical pipe and then you have a horizontal pipe, right, perpendicular. The pipe that's perpendicular, that's horizontal, you face it magnetic south, so that way energy flows from south to north, negative to positive. And so, positive to negative, I'm sorry.
Got it.
The feminine always receives. This is back to Taoist principles. The feminine, the negative energy always receives from the positive. And it's the same in the ionosphere. where the ions and the ionosphere, the atmosphere, the sky are positive, the Earth is negative. So the positive ions from the sky is being received by the Earth, the negative. Back to the current now. So magnetic energy runs from south to north or from positive to negative. And so if you have it running from south to north, it's going to gather that energy, move it through that horizontal line all the way down to the soil, and then continue to run magnetic north. So it's like going with the current of the river rather than opposite.
Got it.
Because the current of the river is running south to north. So you want to run south to north.
Dude, it's so
simple, yet so intricate and so powerful.
It's powerful, right? No, it's like so simple. And I think about it, it's like permaculture, right? It's like work with what's already there.
The Taoist literally says less is more, you know? So, like, let's stop overcomplicating this. Open our eyes and be observant of the elemental energetics around us, and then see how can we collect and harness those energies and use it. You know, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So this energy is around us. How can we use it for our benefit? Wow. Right? Because that energy is then being into the soil. The roots take it, then the plants take it. They grow larger, then we eat that. We have more energy now. Now we're more productive. And so it's this never-ending cycle of evolution and expansion.
Wow. Dude, do you think about, so you talked about a Tartaria. I can't help but bring it up. Do you think that they had this energy, like Atlanteans, they were thinking like us, like you are right now?
Yes.
Just walking around doing this stuff. Really?
Yeah. A lot of...
Please tell.
A lot of what I do now... hasn't really come to me through research, but purely through experience, observation, scientific method, you know, observation, hypothesis, conclusion, results, tests over and over, but also from past lives. So QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis therapy, deep meditations, mushroom journeys. I don't know if that's okay to talk about.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, just
that's where... You channeled this stuff.
It's where I've learned a lot about this stuff, but not fully. Past lives, yeah. Because one, we are infinite, right? Like we are the all in all everything, and then there's the individual soul that has its own experiences, its own Akashic records, its own blueprints, and its own information. And so we all have different lives of different experiences because our soul has different lessons, really, right? Anyway, so back to free energy and Tartaria, because that's a whole rabbit hole. So Atlantis was a civilization anywhere between like the Mexico country all the way to the Bahamas. Like that whole Gulf and Atlantic area is Atlantis. This was a underwater civilization. They focused a lot on energy, frequency, vibration. So cymatics, healing through water, healing through vibration. They worked with a lot of electromagnetic levitation because you can make things levitate through vibration once again. If everything is vibration, that means you can alter an object or its form or its matter through vibration. Because what is creation? What is reality? It's a bunch of atoms vibrating together, you know, right?
Wait, so this is so good. So, wait, so that's how they lifted the pyramids, stones, and all those things?
Yeah,
right?
it's acoustic levitation. Yeah.
Then why wasn't Atlantis over there too? Because I don't know. What do you think about that? It could have been.
It possibly could have been all the way from Egypt to Mexico, but from what I am aware of and have tuned into, I know from Bahamas to Mexico.
Right. I'm tuning into that too. Like a lot of stuff's coming out about that.
Yeah. Egypt for sure has a lot of really powerful similar technology, but the entire world at this time did. You know, Gaia or Earth was in a higher density, a higher vibration, and so everything during that time, it wasn't like right now we're in nations, countries, wars, separation, right? Like you have this, we have this, rights, property, this and that, whereas back then it was just nations, you know, like this was our tribe, we stay here, you stay over there, but like life is life, we don't own anything. And
nations,
and nations, you know, but
beautiful.
I really see that these civilizations were more so tuning into the infinite intelligence all around us. So when we return back to nature and we look at nature and observe nature, nature has all of the teachings for us, all of the technologies and advancements already. The airplane was taken from a bird, right? Trying to think of another analogy.
That's beautiful.
Doesn't really matter. But point being is nature is our guide of how to be in this realm. And if we can tune into nature, we will learn how to be better.
Beautiful. Infinite intelligence.
Infinite intelligence. Yeah.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So free energy, Tartaria. Tartaria is a really big topic.
Why do they not want us to know about that? Because
well,
that's pretty wild to know that Atlantis existed and they had this technology that we don't even have anymore. Like,
yeah, I would say a big reason is there is some type of entity or spirit on this earth that is seeking power, money, control. Like those main three things is why we are here. Because energy is everywhere. Energy is infinite. Oil is infinite. Water is infinite. And when we work in balance with nature, all that remains infinite.
Right.
But anything that's infinite, you can't tax off of. You can't make money off of. You can't control. You can't control the infinite reservoir of water, the infinite reservoir of oil. So you create scarcity. You tell people that energy isn't infinite. It isn't. It needs to be mined or gathered or created. And then you can tax it and you can charge. You can make money off of it.
It's going to run out by this date.
Exactly.
So they adopt their technology or whatever.
Since the 50s, they've been saying that the oil is going to run out, and it never does.
Yeah. So you think it's infinite? I've heard
I guess, know, whatever. What is knowing and what is thinking?
Sure.
Like, once you start knowing, you don't know.
But
once you don't know, you know.
Right. Dude, this is good though, man. I didn't think we'd come here. That's awesome. That's awesome. Energy's infinite though. Let's tell them.
Yeah, the intelligence of energy is infinite, and whoever knows where it goes.
Yeah, is there anything else you wanted to share before we leave or like expand on?
I would honestly love to. I would love to share about elemental energetics and how it's changed my life, and then some of the devices or technologies that I've worked with that have improved my life and also nature around me.
Amazing.
So the term elemental energetics is really tuning into the different elements and the energy of every element and how they all have different uses. So there are 5 elements. Most people only know of 4. We have water, we have earth, we have fire, air, and the less spoken of ether. Ether is what composes the other 4.
Whoa.
Yeah, so earth is the soil, the grounding. It's what holds everything together. It is like the root and the foundation. So when I work with the earth energy, it's really about grounding my body, rooting into my own being, my own energetic field. That's just a close, simple one. For water is about being fluid, feeling, emotions, moods, being more adaptable. Water can be very soft, but it can also be very forceful. So water, if you have a 100-foot waterfall and you stand underneath it, it's going to hurt. But if you, from your hand to the floor, pour some water, it's not going to hurt your hand on the floor. So that shows the beauty of how you can be soft yet also very hard. Fire is about purification, transformation, alchemy. Within the fire element, you are taking wood, water, fire, and air and creating fire, which is really, really beautiful. It has all the elements together. And then it's turning it into fire, right? You have the wood that you're burning. There's water in the wood. You need air for proper airflow for the wood to burn. And then with that, you have the fire. With that, teaching you transformation, alchemy, purification, your desires, your drive in life, like your inner fire, right? And then you have air. So air is intellect, intelligence, thinking, thoughts, wisdom, awareness, observing, etc., consciousness, right? And so we can use these different elements throughout the day to recognize, like, how are we feeling or what element are we in, So for me, it's a great way to know how I'm flowing through my day or what energy I'm in to become more impactful or useful in the space that I'm in. So that has shifted a lot in my life and assisted me in many ways. But going further into that, I would really like to talk about tinsel rings and orgonite.
Awesome.
Those are the really big things.
Which ones? What is it called?
So tensor rings is a term for a 0-point scalar wave device made out of copper or silver or gold, any precious metal really. Slim Sperling was the designer or inventor of it in the late 90s.
Slim Sperling.
Slim Sperling. He's the
What
OG.
a name.
The OG hillbilly. I love that man.
He made this.
He didn't make that one specifically. I did, but he developed that design. I guess you could say. So he used to just be a metalsmith, and he was working with copper, steel, and all the other metals. And someone came into a shop one day and said, like, "Hey, try out this design. What we do is we took copper, we bent it in half, and twisted it on itself, put it around your ring." On your electric meter. And so he did, and what he found was that whatever was going on, it was reducing his electric bill, right? And this is just the beginning of all of it. And so from there, he recognized, okay, this is doing something with the energetic field. And so then he started working with dowsers, other people that work with energy, basically. And so they started doing tests on geopathic stress lines, ley lines, with water, with food, with the environment. And what he found is these devices produce harmonic life force energy. Not only do they produce life force energy, but it also harmonizes any discordant or stagnant energy in the space. Yeah. So space holds information. I'm sure all of you have been into a space where you walk in and you're like, oh my God, it's pretty dense in here, pretty heavy. You're like, whoa, I'm not feeling it. And you turn around right away. Right. And then you walk into other places and you're like, wow, I don't want to leave. So beautiful. Yeah. And that is a representation that space holds information.
Yeah.
And so with that, you can use these devices to take that stagnant energy, that like, I don't like this feeling, I want to get out of here, and transmute it into light, harmonic energy. Would you like me to explain how that works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you're tuning. It's like tuning it.
Tuning it.
It's like
these?
Tuning the frequency.
Oh, yes, very much so. Sorry. Yeah, so basically very similar like magnets and elemental energies. There's a negative and positive end, or a south and north end. So when you take a long wire of copper, there's a negative end and a positive end, right? So there's that current. When you bend it in half and twist it on itself, the north is now going north and south, and the south is now going north and south. So it creates equal amount of energy flowing in opposite directions, right?
Yep.
And now, an analogy once again, if you were to take two cars going 50 miles an hour at each other, and they go head-on collide, they're just going to stop. No one's going to go right, no one's going to go left, right? It creates a 0-point field. So that's what the tensor ring is doing, where equal amount of energy is flowing north, equal amount is flowing south, and while that's happening, they're canceling each other out, but there's still that inertia. There's still that energy flowing. God. But at the point, it's like collapsing and expanding at the same time. All right, interesting. So you have that 0-point energy, and then like I was saying earlier with the qubits, you take these qubits that have been used in ancient civilizations. One, for example, is a king's chamber of the Cheops Giza pyramids.
Got you.
Yeah, so they use a very specific measurement to create the king's chamber. Right. And that measurement is 26.2 centimeters or 52.4 centimeters. That's a full qubit. I think it's 20.6 inches. I work primarily in centimeters, y'all. So
the metrics.
So that's
so yeah. Why what's a qubit though? Why did they do that measurement?
Yeah, so they've and I have no idea how they found this, but they found that measurement, right, that like 52.4 centimeters creates a resonant frequency. So there are frequencies that create chaos, and there's frequencies that create order. Right. And so that 52.4 centimeters created a very resonant effect in frequency. And so they put that as the measurement in the king's chamber. They're like, well, we want a resonant energy in here. This is like where one is going to receive lots of energy and, blah, blah, blah.
Can you believe that structure? Like, how crazy is it? It's
it just goes to show how intelligent we are.
Totally, bro. It's like matches up with like the dimensions of our realm and all this stuff and the bait. Pretty cool.
The speed of light is on the longitude that it's at, 51.5125 degrees is also a part of the Fibonacci sequence and the phi ratio. It's just a lot of sacred geometry in that.
It's aligned with the stars.
Orion's belt. Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, it's very, very powerful. You take that harmonic measurement from the tensor ring, and what you can do is you solder it into a ring. Once you solder it into a ring, right, you first have that straight line measurement. When you solder it into a ring, it then creates a toroidal field. Creates a toroidal field, a portal of light, a beacon of light, and it creates that ring now. So instead of that current having a beginning and an end, it now no longer has a beginning nor an end. So it just isness. It's that circle, right? There's no beginning or an end on a circle. So it's that wholeness. And so within that ring is completely structured and harmonized matter. Like I was saying, that toroidal field, right? So in the center of the ring, matter is constantly being pulled in, shaped, structured, and then emitted out. And you can test this with water tests. You take a glass of water, you put a tensor ring underneath it, and you freeze it for about 4 hours. You run a little bit of water over it so you can see on the inside of the ice. And what you'll see is literally a toroidal field.
Whoa.
And for those that don't know what a toroidal field is, cut an apple in half. You see how like the pit is in the center with all the seeds, and then it goes out and around, and then it comes back from the bottom up to the center, up and around. That's a toroidal field. So, basically the frozen ice, the frozen water, if you look at it, it will have a column, a beacon in the center of the ice, and then it'll have a bunch of bubble molecules pushing outwards. And that is showing basically the energetic effect of what's going on. It is centering energy, and then it's exuding it outwards. So water holds memory, right? So when we freeze it, we allow, like, it's basically taking a snapshot of time and energy and what's going on. Because the water can hold the visual aspect of the energy.
Yeah, the structure.
Exactly.
Wow.
So you can use water testing to show like what it's doing energetically. You can also use Kirlian photography. Kirlian photography works with gas discharge voltage, basically taking the biophotonic electric charge of an object and capturing that with a camera, a very specific camera. And so, you can read the aura of these devices, like how much energy and how much light is it emitting, which is really cool too. Yeah.
Dude, thank you for sharing all of this today, dude. So good.
Yeah.
What a treat, man. Thank you. So cool.
Yeah. And
Shivambi, guys, come on. What else? What else you got?
Yeah, so the tensor rings can be used in a multitude of ways. They can heal the body. So we have bracelets, we have crowns, we have pendants, anything and everything in between as well. So the bracelets really help with arthritis, carpal tunnel, people that are using their hands all day long. It is producing harmonic energy and that life force energy, which is speeding up the cellular regeneration, the healing of the cells, and reducing inflammation as well.
The bracelet.
The bracelets, yeah.
Beautiful.
I mean, really any and all, but the bracelets are like adaptable and you put on your wrist, so it's super easy. But any ring, like if there is a part of the body that has pain, you place the ring over that part of the body, give it about 15 minutes, and the pain reduces because of that harmonic energy and that beacon of light. It'll structure your food, protects you from EMFs, structure your water as well. Your food will basically like decay slower. So if a banana normally lasts 3 days, now it'll last 6 days. You can use this stuff in your garden as well. So placing it in your pots or around your garden will improve the growth of everything as well. Meditation, Kriya, anybody that is into energetics with their body or connecting to their inner energetic self, The crown specifically really helps with centering the chakras, improving your energy, mental clarity, focus. Yeah, removes mental fog, everything.
Superstar mode.
Yeah, like, would you like to share anything that you felt when you wore the crown?
Yeah, it was like, yeah, clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels like you're being lifted up a little bit, like your entire energetic body lightens up.
Interesting.
You know, a lot of us, we feel like we're carrying the world on our shoulders and very heavy. You put this on and you're like, oh, I can breathe again. I breathe. Cool. Oh, hey, world, how's it going, y'all? You know?
It lifts you up, yeah.
It lifts you up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude,
And
so
it
cool.
also produces life force energy. So, like, it's strengthening your aura, which means you're less likely to have disease, illnesses, cancers, disorders, because all disease and illnesses, one, comes from a lack of energy and also acidity in the body. Because once again, like, how can good health thrive if you don't have energy? It can't. And bad health thrives when you don't have energy, right?
Energy. It's key,
It's the
man.
root.
It's
the root of everything.
Prana.
Prana.
Dude, good stuff, Shivambi. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah. Where can people find out about this stuff?
So my Instagram is copperprince369. My business is Divine Life Creations. My website is divinelifecreations.tech. And from there you can learn more about my story, my mission, my message, my purpose. And soon we're going to be working together to collaborate with the fundraiser. So 10% of all the business proceeds will be going to the Crossing for Cystic Fibrosis, a nonprofit foundation for cystic fibrosis. So
amazing. That's awesome, brother.
Yeah. Heal
Cool.
the self, heal the world, heal everybody.
Yeah, brother. Tell them, yeah. So support Shivambi. Thank you, guys. Peace and love. Thank you, brother.
We're in the garden. It's existential.